The first-class cabin smelled of coffee, leather, and quiet entitlement. Soft lights glowed above wide seats. Screens flickered with safety videos no one actually watched. People adjusted jackets worth more than monthly salaries and spoke in low voices, careful not to sound like they were trying too hard. Seat 3A was empty.
For now.
When Maya Reynolds stepped into first class, the silence shifted. She was visibly pregnant. Not dramatically. Not exaggerated. Just enough that no one could miss it. Her hand rested instinctively on her belly as she walked slowly down the aisle, careful, steady. She wore simple clothes, comfortable, clean, unbranded. Her hair was tied back loosely. No jewelry. No makeup meant to impress. She didn't look lost. She didn't look apologetic. And somehow, that bothered people more than if she had. A woman in seat 2C glanced up, then immediately looked away, then looked back again. Her lips tightened. Across the aisle, a man raised his eyebrows subtly, checking his boarding pass as if to confirm reality. Mistake, his expression said. Maya reached seat 3A. She checked the number once more.
Correct.
She lowered herself carefully into the seat, exhaling quietly. That's when the whispering started. Not loud, not open, but deliberate. Is she first class? Interesting choice. Maya pretended not to hear. She had learned that skill well. The flight attendant approached with a polite smile. Good afternoon, ma'am. Welcome aboard. Maya returned the smile. Thank you. The attendant glanced briefly at her belly. Then away. Just a fraction too fast. May I see your boarding pass? Maya handed it over without hesitation. First class. Seat 3A. The attendant nodded. Everything looks fine. Can I get you something to drink? Water, please. As the attendant walked away, the woman in seat 2C leaned slightly into the aisle. I hope you're aware, she said, not bothering to hide the edge in her voice, that first class is usually kept quiet. Maya turned her head slowly. I'm not planning to make noise, she replied calmly. The woman smiled thinly. Pregnancy can be unpredictable. Maya held her gaze. So can people, she said softly. The woman scoffed. Across the aisle, a flight attendant, different from the first, watched closely. She made a mental note. The plane began boarding fully now. The aisle filled. Economy passengers passed through, glancing at first class with the usual mix of curiosity and resignation. One man slowed when he saw Maya, then frowned. He was tall, well-dressed, mid-40s. Expensive watch. Executive posture. He stopped directly beside her seat. Excuse me, he said to the flight attendant nearby. Is this seat occupied? Maya looked up at him. Yes, she said. He didn't look at her. I meant, is this correctly occupied? The flight attendant straightened. Yes, sir. Seat 3A is hers. The man's eyes finally met Maya's. Something cold passed through them. Oh, he said. I see. He didn't move. I just assumed. He stopped himself, smiled thinly. Never mind. He took his seat one row back, shaking his head as if mildly amused. Maya rested her hand on her belly again. Her baby shifted slightly. She breathed through it. She hadn't wanted to fly. Her doctor hadn't recommended it. But she hadn't had a choice. This flight wasn't about comfort. It was about survival. And no one in that cabin knew that yet. The seatbelt sign clicked on. The plane prepared for takeoff. And somewhere in the back of the aircraft, a man adjusted his jacket and checked his watch. A man who hadn't been seated yet. A man whose presence would change everything. The plane was still on the ground when the discomfort became deliberate. The seatbelt sign glowed softly above Maya Reynolds' head. She sat upright, hands folded over her belly, breathing slowly the way her doctor had taught her. In through the nose, out through the mouth. She needed calm. She didn't get it. The flight attendant from earlier, the one who had checked her boarding pass, returned. Her smile was still there, but it was thinner now. Controlled. Professional. Ma'am, she said gently. May I speak with you for a moment? Maya looked up. Of course. The woman in seat 2C leaned back slightly, pretending not to listen. Everyone else listened anyway. The attendant lowered her voice, but not enough. "There have been some concerns," she said, glancing briefly around the cabin, "about your comfort during the flight." Maya frowned slightly. "My comfort?" "Yes," the attendant continued. "Given your condition." Maya felt a tightening in her chest. "My condition?" she repeated calmly. The attendant nodded. "Pregnancy can be challenging in confined spaces, especially for other passengers." Other passengers. Maya followed her gaze, just for a second. Seat 2C. The man behind her. A few curious faces. "I don't see how my pregnancy affects anyone else," Maya said quietly. The attendant hesitated. "Well," she said, "sometimes there are complications. Medical situations." Noise. Movement. Maya straightened a little. "I'm cleared to fly," she said. "And I paid for this seat." The attendant smiled again, this time with a hint of strain. "Of course. No one is questioning that." But that was exactly what they were doing. The man behind Maya leaned forward. "Look," he said loudly. "No one's attacking you. We're just saying this section is meant for a certain experience." Maya turned slightly in her seat. "And what experience would that be?" she asked. "Peace," he replied. "Predictability." The woman in 2C chuckled softly. Maya nodded once. "I want that too," she said. The man scoffed. "With all due respect, you should be in economy. Closer to medical assistance." That sentence hit harder than the others. The cabin went quiet. Maya felt heat rise behind her eyes, but she didn't let it show. "My pregnancy is not a medical emergency," she said evenly. "And economy doesn't have better doctors." A few passengers shifted uncomfortably. The flight attendant cleared her throat. "Ma'am," she said, "perhaps we could explore other seating options. For everyone's benefit." There it was. The polite push. Maya looked up at her. "Are you asking me to move?" The attendant paused. "I'm suggesting it," she said carefully. Maya's hand tightened on the armrest. "To where?" she asked. The attendant didn't answer immediately. Behind them, boarding was nearly complete. People were settling in. Time was running out. "We could arrange a seat further back," the attendant finally said, "where you might be more comfortable." Maya almost laughed. More comfortable. She looked around the cabin again. No one met her eyes now. Not even the people who looked uncomfortable with what was happening. Silence pressed in. The woman in seat 2C leaned forward again. "Honestly," she said, "it would just make things easier. For everyone." Maya felt the familiar urge rise, the one she had known her whole life. Don't make trouble. Don't stand out. Just move. Her baby shifted again. She placed her hand gently over her belly. "No," she said. The word was quiet, but it landed. "I'm not moving," Maya continued. "I followed every rule. I paid for this seat, and I deserve to sit here." The man behind her sighed dramatically. Unbelievable. The flight attendant stiffened. "Ma'am," she said, "if there's an incident during the flight." "There won't be," Maya interrupted. "And if there is, you're trained for it." The attendant looked at her for a long moment, then nodded stiffly. "I'll inform the lead attendant," she said. She walked away. The cabin buzzed with low murmurs. "She's being difficult. Why cause drama? This is why." Maya leaned her head back against the seat. Her heart was racing now. She hadn't planned to fight today, but she wasn't going to disappear either. As the plane began pushing back from the gate, a man stepped into first class from the rear. He hadn't boarded earlier. He moved calmly, purposefully. He stopped for just a moment, scanning the cabin. His eyes landed on Maya, then narrowed. Not in judgment, in concern. He took the empty jump seat near the galley, speaking quietly to a crew member. Maya didn't notice him yet, but she would. The plane was airborne now. Seatbelt signs dimmed. The engine noise settled into a steady hum that usually brought relief to passengers. Not today. In first class, the tension sat heavier than the altitude. Maya Reynolds stared straight ahead, jaw tight, eyes focused on nothing. Her body was still, but inside, everything felt loud. She could feel the looks. Not staring, measuring. The lead flight attendant approached. She was older than the others. Confident. The kind of person who had dealt with every version of human entitlement imaginable. "Ma'am," she said quietly, stopping beside Maya's seat. "May we speak privately?" Maya nodded. The attendant gestured toward the front galley. As Maya stood carefully, the woman in seat 2C smirked. "Finally," she whispered. "Loud enough." Maya ignored her. In the galley, the lead attendant folded her hands. "I'm going to be very direct," she said. "Several passengers have expressed concern." Maya met her eyes. "About what?" "About potential disruption," the attendant replied. "Medical issues. Emotional stress." Maya exhaled slowly. "I'm pregnant," she said. "Not unstable." The attendant hesitated. "We're not accusing you of anything." "But you're documenting me," Maya said. Silence. The attendant didn't deny it. "We've filed a preliminary report," she admitted. "Standard procedure." Maya felt something sink in her chest. "A report for sitting in my assigned seat?" she asked. "For refusing a suggested relocation," the attendant said carefully. Maya shook her head in disbelief. "So, if I comply quietly, there's no problem," she said. "But if I say no, I'm difficult." The attendant didn't respond. Maya's voice lowered. "Do you realize how that sounds?" The attendant sighed. "I'm just trying to keep the cabin calm." Maya looked past her, through the narrow opening, back into first class. She saw the man behind her watching closely. She saw the woman in 2C whispering. She saw judgment masquerading as concern. "I want it noted," Maya said firmly, "that I did nothing wrong." The attendant nodded slowly. "I'll include your statement." They returned to their seats. As Maya settled back into 3A, her hands trembled slightly. She rested them over her belly again. "I'm okay," she whispered. The baby kicked gently. It felt like reassurance. Behind her, the man leaned forward again. "You're really making a scene," he said. Maya didn't turn. "You're welcome to stop participating in it," she replied. Across the aisle, a younger flight attendant watched everything unfold. She swallowed hard. This didn't feel right. Minutes later, she approached the jump seat near the galley, where the man who boarded late still sat quietly. She lowered her voice. "Sir," she said, "can I ask, are you with the airline?" The man looked up. His eyes were calm, observant. "Yes," he said. Her shoulders relaxed slightly. "There's a situation," she whispered. "A passenger. Pregnant. First class." His expression changed. "How?" he asked. She hesitated. "Unfairly." He nodded once. "Thank you," he said. "I'll handle it." Maya felt the shift before she saw it. The cabin grew quieter. Not tense quiet, but alert. The lead attendant received a message on her device. Her posture stiffened. She glanced toward Maya, then toward the jump seat, then back again. The woman in seat 2C leaned over the aisle. "What's going on now?" she demanded. The attendant smiled politely, but didn't answer. The man from the jump seat stood. He walked slowly into first class. Not rushed. Not dramatic. Just certain. He stopped beside Maya's seat. "Ms. Reynolds?" he asked softly. Maya looked up, startled. "Yes." "My name is Aaron Cole," he said. "May I sit for a moment?" She nodded. The cabin froze. He sat in the empty seat across from her. "I want you to know," he said quietly, "you're not in trouble." Maya blinked. "I'm not." "No," he said. "But some people are about to be very uncomfortable." The woman in 2C scoffed. "And who are you supposed to be?" Aaron turned slowly. "Someone who doesn't tolerate abuse," he said calmly. The lead attendant rushed forward. "Sir." Aaron raised a hand gently. "Please," he said. "Let's involve the captain." That sentence changed everything. Because passengers didn't request captains. Authority did. The attendant nodded immediately. "I'll inform him," she said. As she hurried away, whispers erupted. "Who is he? What's happening?" This is getting serious. Maya's heart pounded now, not from fear, but from something else. Hope. Aaron leaned closer. "Whatever happens next," he said quietly, "you did the right thing." Maya swallowed. No one had said that to her all day. The cockpit door opened, and the captain stepped out. The cockpit door opened with a soft mechanical hiss. The captain stepped into first class. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't rush. He didn't need to. Authority followed him like gravity. Conversations died instantly. Phones lowered. Whispers vanished. The captain's eyes scanned the cabin, methodical, practiced, until they landed on the small cluster near seat 3A. Maya Reynolds sat upright, heart racing, hands clasped over her belly. Aaron Cole stood beside her now. The lead flight attendant straightened. "Captain." He nodded once. "I understand there's been a situation." "Yes, sir," she said. "A passenger refused a suggested relocation." Aaron spoke calmly. "With respect, Captain, the suggestion itself is the issue." The captain turned to him. "Mr. Cole," he said evenly, "I was told you requested my presence." Aaron inclined his head. "I did." The woman in seat 2C scoffed loudly. "This is ridiculous," she said. "All this because she won't move?" The captain turned slowly. "Ma'am," he said, "you will wait your turn." The words were calm. They landed like steel. The cabin felt it. The man behind Maya shifted uncomfortably. The captain faced Maya. "Ms. Reynolds," he said gently, "I'm Captain Harris. I want to hear from you." Maya swallowed. She had been talked about all flight. "Not to." She spoke carefully. "I was asked to move from my assigned seat because I'm pregnant," she said. "I refused. After that, I was reported." The captain listened without interrupting. "Did you cause any disturbance?" he asked. "No." "Did you request special treatment?" "No." "Did you raise your voice?" "No." He nodded. Then he turned to the lead attendant. "Show me the report." The attendant handed over the tablet. The captain read silently. The seconds stretched. Finally, he looked up. "This report cites potential discomfort to other passengers," he said. "Yes, sir," the attendant replied. The captain turned to the cabin. "Who reported discomfort?" No one answered. The silence was sharp. The woman in 2C crossed her arms. "Well," she said, "I did." The captain looked at her. "Specifically," he asked, "what discomfort?" She hesitated. "Well, medical situations, noise, unpredictability." "Did any of that occur?" he interrupted. "No," she snapped. "But it could have." The captain nodded slowly. "So you reported something that might happen," he said, "based on her appearance." The woman bristled. "I paid for first class." "So did she," the captain replied. A few passengers shifted in their seats. The man behind Maya leaned forward. "I also expressed concern," he said quickly. "This section is meant to be calm." The captain turned to him. "Has it been calm?" he asked. The man hesitated. "Yes," he admitted. "Then what exactly is the problem?" the captain asked. The man opened his mouth. Closed it. The captain exhaled quietly. "Mr. Cole," he said, turning back, "what's your assessment?" Aaron stepped forward slightly. "Captain," he said, "this is a case of discriminatory pressure masked as concern." A murmur rippled through the cabin. The lead attendant stiffened. Aaron continued, calm and precise. "Ms. Reynolds was singled out due to pregnancy. She was encouraged to move without cause. When she refused, she was documented. That reverses responsibility." The captain's jaw tightened slightly. "Is that accurate?" he asked the attendant. She hesitated. "It could be interpreted that way," she said. The captain nodded once. "That's enough." He turned back to Maya. "Ms. Reynolds," he said, "I want to apologize." Her breath caught. "You were treated unfairly," he continued. "You will not be moved. The report will be amended." The woman in 2C shot to her feet. "This is unbelievable," she snapped. "So now we're the problem?" The captain faced her fully. "Yes," he said. "You are." The word hit the cabin like a dropped plate. He continued. "You pressured a fellow passenger based on assumption. That is unacceptable." The man behind Maya protested. "We were just trying to maintain standards." The captain didn't blink. "Our standard," he said, "is safety and respect." He turned to the lead attendant. "I want a new report," he said. accurately reflecting what occurred. Yes, sir. The captain turned back to the cabin. This flight will continue without further disruption, he said. Any additional harassment will result in formal action upon landing. No one spoke. Maya felt her eyes sting. Not from fear. From relief. Aaron leaned toward her. You're doing great, he said quietly. She nodded, unable to speak. The captain paused before leaving. Ms. Reynolds, he added. If you need anything, notify the crew directly. She managed a small smile. Thank you. He nodded and returned to the cockpit. As he left, the power in first class shifted completely. The woman in 2C sat stiffly, face flushed. The man behind Maya stared straight ahead. No one looked at Maya now with judgment. They looked away. The lead attendant approached Maya quietly. I'm sorry, she said. We should have handled this differently. Maya nodded. Thank you for saying that. The attendant hesitated. May I bring you something? She asked. Water is fine, Maya replied. As the attendant walked away, Aaron stood. I'll be nearby, he said. But I think you're safe now. Maya looked up at him. Thank you, she said softly. He smiled. You didn't need saving. You needed fairness. He returned to the jump seat. The cabin settled. For the first time since boarding, the air felt lighter. But this wasn't over. Because reports didn't disappear. And consequences didn't evaporate at altitude. They waited. For landing. The plane began its descent quietly. No announcement could undo what had already happened. First class sat in an uneasy calm, like a room after an argument where the truth has landed, but no one knows what to say next. Maya Reynolds stared out the window, watching the clouds thin beneath them. Her hand rested protectively on her belly. Her breathing had finally slowed. For the first time since boarding, she felt steady. Behind her, the woman in seat 2C hadn't spoken a word. She sat rigid, arms crossed, eyes forward, her confidence drained, replaced by something colder. Fear. The man behind Maya kept his gaze fixed on the seatback screen, replaying nothing, watching nothing. No one wanted to be noticed anymore. The lead flight attendant approached Maya again, but this time, there was no tension in her posture. Ms. Reynolds, she said softly, I just want to let you know the report has been corrected. Maya nodded. Thank you. It now reflects that you were subjected to unnecessary pressure, the attendant continued, and that you remained cooperative throughout. Maya closed her eyes briefly. That mattered. Because words written down don't disappear. The attendant hesitated. And, I'm sorry, she added. Personally. Maya opened her eyes. I appreciate that, she said. The captain's voice came over the intercom moments later. We'll be landing shortly. Please remain seated. Seatbelts clicked back into place. As the plane touched down, a ripple of relief moved through the cabin. But not for everyone. When the aircraft reached the gate and the doors opened, two uniformed airline representatives stood just outside, discreet, professional. They weren't there for Maya. They were there for follow-up. Passengers began deplaning slowly. Maya waited. Aaron Cole appeared beside her again. Would you like to exit last? He asked gently. Yes, she said. They waited until the aisle cleared. Then Maya stood carefully, adjusting her bag. As she stepped into the jet bridge, one of the airline representatives approached her immediately. Ms. Reynolds, the woman said, we'd like to escort you for a brief conversation. Maya's stomach tightened. Aaron spoke calmly. She's not required to go anywhere without clarification. The representative nodded. Of course. This is not disciplinary. It's support. Maya nodded. In a quiet room near the gate, the captain joined them. He closed the door gently. Ms. Reynolds, he said, I want to be very clear. You did nothing wrong. Maya listened silently. An internal review will follow, he continued, based on the corrected report and witness statements. She nodded again. The captain folded his hands. If you're comfortable, he added, we'd like to ask why this flight was important to you. Maya hesitated. Then she answered. I'm flying to say goodbye, she said. The room stilled. My mother, she continued quietly, is in hospice. She won't make it another week. The captain's expression softened. I didn't want to fly, Maya said. But I needed the space, the quiet, and I needed to feel human. No one spoke for a moment. Aaron looked away, jaw tight. I'm sorry, the captain said sincerely. The airline representative nodded. We'll ensure your return flight is handled with care. Maya offered a small smile. That's all I wanted, she said. As Maya and Aaron left the room, they passed the woman from seat 2C sitting with another representative. She didn't look up. The man from behind Maya sat nearby, face pale, hands clenched. No shouting. No spectacle. Just accountability. Outside the terminal, Maya paused. Aaron stood beside her. You were brave, he said. She shook her head. I was tired of shrinking. He smiled gently. That's usually when change happens. Maya placed a hand on her belly. I hope my child never has to fight this way, she said. Aaron nodded. Thanks to people like you, they might not. They parted ways. Maya walked toward the exit, sunlight spilling across the floor ahead of her. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Because dignity doesn't demand witnesses. It only needs truth.